I'm excited about this episode today, Sharon. This is really actually the first of our episodes on this channel. Most of what we've been talking about so far has been introductory. Um, and this is the question for today is what does it mean to change the way we think about the planet? So to explore this question, we first really need to consider the way that we think about the planet now. Our tendency is to think about the planet in one of two ways, either as a resource to exploit or as a service to maintain. We can track almost all of our collective actions concerning the planet to this level of thinking, as industries, as companies, as governments, as consumers, as activists. This level of thinking suggests that we are separate from the planet. We act upon it, the planet, and the planet provides for our needs, either in terms of resources or services. It's really transactional at this level. We are the actors or the agents, and the planet is the provider, or maybe more accurately, the commodity. It all comes down to the way we think. So if our tendency is to think about the planet as a resource, then we may take part in industries that have been developed to harvest the planet's resources, like forests and fisheries and oil and gas. This way of thinking says that these resources are there for our taking, finite though they may be. If our tendency is to think about the planet as a service, such as in climate regulation, water purification, and pollination, then we may take part in efforts to conserve and protect ecosystems and natural habitats to ensure that these benefits continue. This way of thinking says that these services are there for us to manage, finite though they may be. Now, this is not a commentary on the relative merits of these activities. We all take part in these collective actions to one degree or another, most obviously as consumers of the planet's resources. It's simply an observation that these activities reflect a certain level of thinking about the planet that has to do with ensuring our survival. So this is our baseline level of thinking. We learn it in childhood, particularly in Western cultures, and we maintain this level of thinking throughout our adult lives. When we think and act at this level, it perpetuates this separateness between us and the planet. There is us with our needs, and there is the planet with its resources and services to meet our needs. This level of thinking and this resulting separateness between us and the planet is a big part of the reason why we are in such trouble today. Just think about any of our major global challenges, and we can see that these challenges have been shaped by this level of thinking. There are those who think about the planet as a resource to exploit, and those who think about the planet as a service to maintain and protect. The conflict between these interests is inevitable. Now, governments have a role in trying to find a balance between these interests so that economies can develop and societies can benefit while not impairing the environment. But even this attempt to balance these interests reflects the same level of thinking. It's just what Einstein foretold when he said that the significant challenges we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. So it should really come as no surprise that we are nowhere near to addressing these global challenges, nor are we on a pathway that will ensure that life continues on this planet. We'll look at these issues in more detail in another episode. What's important to understand at this point is that we mostly think about the planet at this baseline level, either as a resource to exploit or as a service to maintain. And this is a big part of the reason why we are in such trouble today. So if we can accept this idea, the next question is, how do we go about changing the way we think about the planet? Now, if viewers watched our introductory video, they will have heard that changing the way we think or the level of our thinking is not easy. Even trying to maintain some degree of awareness or mindfulness in our daily lives requires significant effort and training. Another consideration is that we are not just talking about the way we think about the planet. This also gets into the question of our relationship with the planet. Now, this could get us into some fairly deep territory. Why are we here? Why have we been put on this planet? And other deep philosophical questions. But we don't have to go that far. At this point, we are just considering the way to begin. The way to begin to change the way we think about the planet. So here's some ideas. One way is to remember a time when we didn't think about the planet this way. Most of us can remember a time when we were inspired by nature. It may be the first time we saw the ocean, or an eclipse, or a firefly. It may be when we felt a sense of peace in nature, like when we were playing in the sand on a beach. Just try to remember. When we do, it helps to rewire our brains and activate new thinking. Another way we can begin to think differently about the planet is just by spending more time in nature. Now, this doesn't mean flying down the ski hill or jetting across the lake or speeding across the golf course, but really stopping and trying to be present in nature, just trying to appreciate nature. Here's a thought. Did you know that for most people it takes some time, maybe 15 or 20 minutes or more, before they are even able to open up their senses enough to begin to experience nature? Just try it. Go to the park or the beach and sit there and see how long it takes before you can actually begin to smell the air, hear the sounds of birds in the trees, and see what is really going on in the ecosystem. Just see how long it takes, and then ask yourself, why is this the case? A third way to begin to think differently about the planet is to explore some of the latest discoveries in the science of nature. It's really extraordinary what is being discovered about the planet and the natural worlds today. It's far more sophisticated and sensitive than we ever imagined. Did you know that flowers increase the concentration of sugars in their nectar when they hear the sounds of bees to make it more attractive for these pollinators? Did you know that corn plants secrete a chemical when they're being attacked by caterpillars, not to ward off the caterpillar, but to attract wasps that can then hunt these caterpillars? Did you know that trees share their resources? So if some trees are under stress from insects or lack of sunlight, they'll send a signal to other trees through underground networks. Those trees will then share their resources, like sugars and nitrates, with the trees under stress. These are really extraordinary discoveries, and they're incredible ideas. The point is that the more we begin to understand the sophistication of nature, the more it begins to rewire our brains and the way we think about the planet. And when we change the way we think about the planet, it changes the way we see the world and allows us to see more. It may sound like child's play, and in a way it is. Just try it. We'll add some links on the page so our viewers can explore more. So Sharon, this is just a starter really on what it means to change the way we think about the planet and where to begin. It's also the basis of some of the projects and programs that we developed at the United Nations to change the way we think about the planet and the way to address our global challenges from a new level of thinking. So let me turn it over to you and see if you have any comments on what I've said, or I'm keen, of course, to hear your own thoughts that you want to share as well.
Very good reminders for us. Um, I had to really think about that 15-minute thing to tap into nature. Because I always feel like, okay, I'm going here, I'm going to tap into nature right now. Like if I'm in a big urban area or something, I'm like, I go to this park and I'm going to be in nature, and then I'm going to go to my meeting or go on to whatever I'm doing, meeting a friend for food or something like that. And that made me really think because I feel like sometimes in those circumstances, I just spent 15 minutes as opposed to waiting for 15 minutes. I mean, if that. But it is really interesting, like that you can feel yourself dropping into nature and it takes a little while sometimes.
I've had this experience so many times, Sharon, where I've gone to the park and
Hmm.
sat there and not almost be able to take in what's going on around me, and then over time, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe longer, I suddenly start to be able to see and hear and experience more. But it's almost like it takes time to process out the life of the urban environment before I can take in
Mm.
new sights and sounds and impressions. It's something that it's happened to me many times, and it's almost something I didn't notice at first. I really had to pay attention to the fact that I couldn't pay attention, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sharon. I mean, these are the types of questions that we'll continue to explore on this channel. In our next episode, we'll look at what it means to change the way we think about our global challenges. We'll look at some of the most intractable global challenges and explore ways to consider those issues from a new level of thinking and above the dualities that cause only discord and division. As always, we'll provide practical insights and share deeply considered views on the state of the planet and our global challenges, and what is needed if we are to continue the human story on the planet. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Let us know in the comments. If you want to stay involved, you know the way to do that. Just sign up, subscribe, or just stay tuned, and we'll keep you informed with news and updates on the ways we'll be developing this channel. So more to come soon. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Michael.